2. Welcome back, y'all. We're on episode 29 Off the Menu podcast. I am your host, Tay. I'm here with my brother, my co-host, P. And a very, very special team today. We have Bryan Chow back on the pod.
Hello.
And a very, very special guest, Michael McHenry, entrepreneur extraordinaire of Utah.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah, this is
Thank you.
This is dope.
I'm so excited for you to be on this.
Bro, I'm still tasting dinner.
Oh, no.
Yo,
This is amazing.
Yo,
Shout
I gotta
out
tell you
Tay.
right now, seriously, the host, ultimate host on the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm eating before. I mean, listen, dude, the meal was a 10-10. We get anywhere close on this podcast, you're soaring up the charts.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As I said, episode 29 Off the Menu podcast. Thank you guys for coming here. Thank you, Bryan, for being back. So we're gonna go and get into it. We're gonna ask a few questions that we had set up for you here, Michael. So like they said, we talked about some food. We actually went to the restaurant Saturday.
Yeah.
What's Saturday?
It was Saturday. It was Saturday.
Yeah, we saw you Saturday
morning.
Crazy. This guy went hiking, showed up at the restaurant, started helping with the dishes, started putting stuff away, started helping with checks. I'm like, yeah, I just looked at your story. You were just hiking. And then so we got to know him a little. We wanted to scout out the restaurant and see
cool.
how it's a cool spot.
Thank you.
It's very busy though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a hot spot, right?
Yeah.
And it's like one of those double-edged swords. It's a blessing and a curse. It's beautiful to be relevant. It's beautiful to be popular.
Yeah.
And it's also you got to join in a few other 100 people.
Yeah.
Right? Like a day like that on a Saturday, Sunday, we're going to serve over 700 guests.
Yeah.
And so
all day.
that's a big move, right? And every guest is in there for a 60 to 70 minute experience. So it was cool to catch you two at the bar top. And I had no idea.
We got lucky.
Right? You just saw me doing my thing.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting at the bar, you most definitely got a walk-in seat.
Yeah.
And people walk in there sometimes at 11 a.m. and they can't get a walk-in seat till 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because we tried to go there maybe a couple months ago with my mom. 2-hour wait.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow. And then so we left, and I was like, I'll come back another day when it's less busy.
Yeah.
And the fact that we got a bar seat and we got to be where you're at, was kind of amazing because we just got done watching The Bear. And The Bear, if you guys haven't watched it, you guys should watch this on Hulu.
Sure.
But it's about a chef who takes over his brother's restaurant.
Yep.
So now every time I'm eating at a restaurant, I'm like, oh yes, chef, corner chef, behind chef,
totally.
all the lingo's there, and we were in the right spot. We got to see the kitchen. We saw all the hosts, and the waitresses doing the water and everything. And I was like, man, it's kind of crazy to see it in real life, and now have a different perspective. But
deal.
Let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead. Who are you and what do you do?
Yo, so obviously, Michael McHenry, man, this is my city in so many ways, and being able to connect people through amazing experiences that are really built on the back of just great beverage and culinary is a bit of our thing. I didn't join this business because I'm a foodie, right? Or that I'm like a cheesemonger. I'm the most passionate about wine. I got in this business because I love people, and there's just no greater vehicle to connect people. Just like today, I walk in your home, you welcome me to your traditional cooking, and I'm sitting here my belly's warm, my palate's good, I'm feeling good. There's just nothing that connects community like food, and it's timeless, it's sacred, it's cultural, and so that's really what we do.
Yeah, and it's true though, because the one thing that I hold in life is the way I cook, right? And to be able to provide just a smile on anyone's face, a home where they can come whenever they're hungry, and I'm that guy. That's just how Laotian homes are, though.
Yeah.
And so I've been blessed to be, in a traditional home where we had that throughout our whole lives, and now I'm able to provide that to everyone.
It's something that I grew up in Sandy, Utah, right? You want to talk about a place that's not overly cultured by any means, but what's beautiful is my friends and influences, those that I've partnered with, guests that I've met that have become great friends, and just the overall kind of evolution of my life, friends, associations, business, life, and being a girl dad, kick-ass husband, the things that come along with it. Just, I love sharing in other cultures, and I love seeing these traditional lifestyles, these traditional homes that are just built on such a foundation of that. Breaking bread really means something to them. Mm-hmm. It's not just a catchy phrase or something that seems biblical. It's actually a true part of their life and culture. I love being invited into that.
Oh, I'm happy to provide it because
Yo.
honestly, I wasn't gonna do it at first until we went to the restaurant and actually met you. And I was like, man, I have to cook for this guy. There's no way I cannot waste an opportunity, to be able to provide this type of food. And for everyone that's watching, I just made a very simple dish that we usually eat at home. It's brisket, chicken wings, gel somp, sticky rice, and then a tamateng, which is cucumber salad. And I asked him, I was like, hey, well, how's your spice level? And he was like, about an 8. And he's like, on your scale, maybe a little lower, just because, the Thai Lao spicy might be a little higher than you think, right?
It's pretty high.
Because and then also I asked him because you guys had some Thai influence on the Sunday, on the
Sunday's best menu. Yeah.
the kasoi. You guys had some other stuff on there. I forgot what it was, but there was something else on there that was Thai influence as well. But the kasoi was the one that caught my eye at a brunch spot.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, these guys kind of like tapped into little things out there, and
Yeah, we just pulled our faux wrench off. Like we just had we had like a Vietnamese sandwich. We've had a whole kinds of different influence on that menu for sure.
oh wow, yeah, it's true. And like we were there and we were looking at it, I was like, this isn't your normal breakfast spot, right? You guys have the American stuff, you guys have the normal stuff, but then everything else below, I was like, wow, this is kind of.
Do you guys like rotate those?
Listen, like it's kind of cool, by the way. Thank you for that because that heat, you nailed it. Like it was an 8. Like I said, my belly's still warm right now. But listen, and I saw it. I saw y'all turn the corner, like, yo, Em's gonna take a bite, and I love it. And those kind just mostly like Thai forward. I love Thai chili. I love Thai spice. I love the depth of flavor.
Yeah.
I love when heat builds in the belly, right? But yeah, our menu most definitely shifts. It shifts
Rotates.
because it's eclectic in the way of. There's typically 3 to 4 people on every table, right, for brunch.
Yeah.
It's different than like breakfast or diner. Breakfast, diner, 1 to 2 people, sometimes 4 or 5, maybe 6. But brunch is an experience, right?
Yeah.
And we want to come in. Some people might want a cow soy, some might want a double cheeseburger, others might want a carbonara, and who knows, like they might come in for an avocado toast.
Right.
And the reality is we need a little bit of everything for everyone. So long as it can be in alignment, it's good to have a menu that is eclectic, and New American allows you to be anything.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Very true.
It allows us to reach,
Yeah.
in every direction, and so long as it's Sunday's best, so long as it checks our box and it really is a 10, in our standards, then we're good with it. Our burger slaps, our fried chicken slaps. You can, you got the caviar.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
We had the deviled eggs.
Yeah, you had the caviar deviled eggs,
caviar,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like seeing that on a menu in the suburbs of Salt Lake City.
Oh.
It's just, and you got fresh oysters. Like that's just stuff that
Very
we're doing.
eye-catching, though. It's very eye-catching.
Thank
When I
you.
look at the menu and I was like, man, there's so much to choose from because there's so many new things that I wanted to try.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there like, all right, I'm going to go with something that I know, right? So I went to the carbonara. She had got the steak with the chimichurri, which is fire,
Thank
right?
you.
The steak was fire. She loved the steak. And then we got the deviled eggs as well with the caviar. She loves it. I just haven't had a caviar experience yet that had afloated me like everyone else talks, right?
Sure.
So I'm still waiting for that. And it's because I don't like deviled eggs. I think that's the one thing.
I mean, there's like a difference too. Like we have a guest that comes and gets a can and brings in Pringles, and he'll literally get
Really?
a can of caviar and just like
what?
run it on Pringles and drink well. And that's when you're like, yo, little bougie, still here for it.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone, it's just like an acquired. It's a bit of an acquired taste.
Yeah.
There's no doubt, but what a way to approach it.
Yeah.
It's Americanized for sure.
Oh, very amazing though that you
thank
guys
you.
had put 1 and 2 together though, because it's not just a caviar. Because you guys have the trout eggs as well, right?
Yep,
So
yep, we mix
it
them
was,
both.
And I love sushi, so we get a lot of trout eggs, salmon roll, right?
Yeah.
And so that was a very unique taste with the caviar and everything else.
Yeah.
But I like what you guys do. You guys do the Sunday's Best stuff, which not only is it a collective of stuff, but you guys have built a community behind it and allowing other flavors to come in.
Yeah.
And so going with that though, what other things do you do? Because I know on your Instagram you have like the fried or the chicken spot, and then a barbecue spot in St. George. And what else do you do?
Yeah. So and again, like I just want to just reference my boy and partner, Chef Tyler Stokes. Like he's the culinary wizard. I most definitely like sort of dream up the essence, dream up the experience.
Front end guy,
push
right?
together, push together the overall brand. But then I work with my culinary wizard, and he really brings menus to life that, and this is true of all of my brands, but brings the culinary experience to match and really be a bit of the foundation for what we're doing. And so, we're compliments to him.
Yeah, shout out to
Tyler.
Tyler.
What we're doing, and shout out to Tyler. He's
Chef.
so he's a G.
Oh my
Yeah, he's a
Chef.
G for sure. So, I owned Dirty Bird Fried Chicken as well, which is our take on Nashville inspired hot chicken. It was wild. We brought it to market 6 weeks before the pandemic. We never closed it, and we sold it 20 months later. We still have a bit of a position in it, as we always typically try to do with our brands when we sell them.
Right.
Our big one is like ideation, incubation, launch to market, nail it, scale it, and sell it.
Oh,
And
perfect.
so that's like a big part of it. Like I want to see these coast to coast, but I want to raise my girls.
Yeah.
I want to hang. I've had the big teams before, and right now we're still about 200 team members, but that's not 700 to 1,000 team members running a massive business, which I most definitely was a part of, like early and mid career before I launched my own company. And that's been a big part of it. Like concept creations, very much at my reward center, big part of what we just experienced in your kitchen is what we work to recreate in our dining rooms. And so a Dirty Bird fried chicken was a dope one for us. It was life-changing in so many ways. It was, one of the richest acquisitions, or taking on that kind of growth capital and that type of acquisition position in its early tenure like that, most definitely set a big milestone for Salt Lake City and for Utah. So I'm excited to see that brand go from, some to many. And there's one opening next month that's like 3 blocks away from Sunday's Best.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's going to be rad. Drive through right in the kind of center of Sandy, right across from Jordan Commons and that like event center area right there. The Maverick or not
It's
Maverick,
the
Mount America. Yeah.
Oh,
So that was going to be cool.
okay.
And then we opened Picarica Americana Barbecue.
Yeah.
In St. George, and dude,
I need to try that
bro,
so bad.
It's lights.
Every time you
out.
post it, I'm like, we're all talking about food right now. I'm literally just thinking about the food outside. I'm so hungry still. Oh my goodness. But like,
should've ate
every
more,
time,
bro.
every time you post it, I'm like, do I want to make the drive right now? Like, if I look at the time, I'm like, I could get there before it like closes that thing. But like you always say, it's there until it sells out, and I'm like,
which is an interesting dynamic. This is the first time I've ever owned a restaurant brand where I'm actually like excited when it sells out. Or like I actually support it. Guys that have worked for me in the past, other chefs and partners, when they saw me like celebrating a sold out sign and my guys telling a story about the fact that we're sold out today, like, yo, I got PTSD from working for you and running out. I'm like, bro, one, my bad. Two, at least my expectations and conditions are high and clear. But there's something that's like damn near romantic about barbecue.
Yeah.
Like when you realize that it's a 40-hour process with the brisket, and that every time you're taking a bite, it didn't come from the day before, bro.
Yeah.
It's not being served tomorrow. Like the only briskets we have for the day are going to the bellies that show up while we have it. Right. And so some days we start with 14 briskets. Some days we start with 22 briskets. Some days we start with 8 briskets. 8's not very often. Typically,
It's like a weekday?
Yeah, like typically like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
And we build everything. We build the pro forma. We build the experience. We build everything backwards from the amount of protein we have available for the day. And if that sells out at 3 o'clock, we're good.
Yeah.
Right?
So
we
be it,
planned
though.
on it.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
gets to go home.
What's dope about this, like little cheat codes, is it's inspiring and exciting for the team too, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, yo, we're gonna get out of here 2 hours sooner, or, whatever it might be. But what is kind of wild about that concept is the fact that those smokers are running about 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're only open 5 days, but we run it 7 days a week. That's the kind of work it takes. And the specials that we run into, like we run the Dino beef bones.
Oh, favorite.
On Saturdays, the average bone like weighs like a pound and a quarter.
Yeah.
And we charge like $45 a pound, and we can't even keep them. Like they're literally, it doesn't matter how many we do, they're gone.
It's
People
such a
just
fair
line
price,
up.
though.
Yeah.
That is, for barbecue goers, that's such a fair price for dino ribs, though.
That's the other thing side of it. Like we charge $38 a pound for brisket. And I'm telling you right now, like you're just not going to get another brisket like that. Honestly, I'll flex in the Southwest. You're just not going to find it. Like I've eaten every relevant barbecue and beyond. And I've eaten almost every relevant barbecue within reach. And I'm talking within like a jet's fly of here. And our brisket is the reason why we popped up. And people are waiting outside the door every time we open. And my chef partner and pit master, Jason Neely, dude, is a fucking stud. Like the dude is like a straight up brisket whisperer.
Wow.
Like you can feel it, bro. Like you can, it's like theater for him. and not from an acting standpoint, just from like
Conducting, directing.
dude.
He's a brisket connoisseur, composer of the
Composer.
of the, right?
There we go. It's like
I would say a composer.
Like when he hits it, when he's like spraying it with
Yeah.
his secret juice, you're like, it's like, pew, pew.
Making music,
And I'm just literally like, fuck it, I'm writing.
conducting
Like,
it. You're like,
I'm like, bro, I'm just gonna
keep it
build
going.
you a stage. I'm gonna build you a stage and do your thing. So that's been wild. It's only been open for 5 full months.
really?
It's taken off. It's taken off like wildfire. We own Oakwood Fire Kitchen in Draper.
Fire. Oh my God. I love that place.
Every time you bring the boys, you're like,
It's
bro,
so good.
like run it back.
Yeah, like
every
yo,
time.
we're coming back right now. Like the wings there, and then the fries. Oh my gosh, I'm really just hungry still. Oh man, I'm just
What
thinking
is
about
it's like
Oakwood
it's,
Fire?
it's
Yeah,
like
what
that.
is-
It's so. This is, by the way, I love these questions. Like I always go like, you want great outcomes? Ask great questions.
Yeah.
like that's a fucking cheat code. Like you really want to progress in things. Just be prepared to ask good questions, and hopefully you get good answers that guide
Yeah.
you. Right. So Oak, this is kind of wild. So it's near and dear to me too. Right. Everyone has this like starting point. Right. Like I left corporate at scale. Like great options, great salaries, being a president and CEO of a huge company at the time. Well, relative, but like small town boy from Sandy.
Yeah.
Like neither of his parents graduated high school, raised himself at 15 on, made his money like selling cigarettes and hustling bowling games. Like
you're a bowler.
anything is something when you
Yeah.
come from little.
Exactly.
Right. And so to me, man, it just tastes so good. And so I just aspired to be the CEO, man. I aspired to be the president. When I got there, I was just like, damn, this is not your calling, bro.
Yeah.
Like you've got a story, you've got a message, you've got an opportunity. Like if it was up to society, you shouldn't be here. And I just felt a stewardship that I'm like, I've been entrepreneurial since birth before I even knew what it was. Like I've been hustling since as long as I can remember. And so I'm like, damn, like one thing about being the president and CEO, you're just not nearly as approachable in large companies.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's an architecture, there's layers, there's, I think there's, oftentimes there's false assumption and, there's just a stigma built around you. And although it's fun to walk in the room being like the ultimate, right? There's a reality that I just want to chop it up. I want to hang with everyone who makes it reality.
Right.
And so when I left that, I left a $30+ million company at scale to launch Oak. And really it was an acquisition. I acquired Oak. And here I went from multiple restaurants, 30+ million value, 700 team members, HQ layers, the whole bit, to a 67 seat, Neapolitan style pizza restaurant in, Draper. Like here I am I'm in Dairy Farm and Mormon suburbia.
Yeah.
And dude, I couldn't be more happy. And why I acquired it was kind of interesting and perfect timing. But when I acquired Oak, I had one vision in my mind. I was like, I want to reintroduce what it truly means to be a neighborhood bistro. Like I want the chef to live in the market. I want the owner table side. I want, the gal working the host stand to be going to the high school next door. I want the servers from the neighborhood. Like I want to bring out stuff that's approachable and delicious. It's affordable, it's predictable, in an environment that's just clean and cool. And honestly, we're there. And in no way do I say like we've arrived, but I can tell you that business has been in operation for 8.5 years. We've owned it for 5. It's up double digits over prior year.
Wow.
It's like you're an 8-year company and you're a neighborhood bistro and you're up double digits over prior year. That's a big deal, right? And you see like Bryan, when you come in, you've been in like what now, 3 or 4 times? Because you hit me a note. You're like,
I'm like, yo, can I get
if
a
you
seat?
head out that way, you're like, yo, I'm going.
I'm coming. Can I just get a table? And you're like, yeah, it's like easy. It's always packed every time I go. I'm like, okay, it's at least like a 30 to 45 minute wait. I'm like, but I know the food's good, so I'm like, pull my phone.
It's easy to get a seat if you're Bryan. Right, but there's no doubt that it's like one of these things when you pop in.
Hello.
Like,
Wait, don't do that.
I believe it though, Bryan. You're a man of the people.
Oh no.
you know what I love about Bryan though, because like every time like he'll just nudge me like, yo, you need me to show up, or like, yo, can I come through for you? It's like when people create value for you, it's an easy yes for me.
Yeah.
Because like we live in a world that's like all about people debiting accounts, right?
Yeah.
I'm all about making deposits, right? I always tell people like if you just make way more deposits than withdrawals, when you need to make a withdrawal, you'll always clear the bank, right? I feel like Bryan is one that's like, dude, the dude still is making 3 to 4 deposits for every withdrawal.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, I don't know that ratio.
I'm trying to understand like the whole like concept of it.
You're
But
just saying you're such a valuable person
it's
to
like,
him.
like when you show up, you're like, yo, I'm going to create value. I'm going to show up to this event. I'm going to shoot photos for you. I'm going to kick it with you. I want to connect you with this individual, or like, hey, you didn't see that I was in the arena, but I caught a picture of you and your gal, or like, hey, I saw you and Elle walking through the tunnel, or you see that I'm hosting an event. You're like, hey, can I come through? Yeah. But it's never like let me come through and just chop it up. It's like, hey, I want to come through and I'm going to shoot some photos. I'm going to catch some vibes.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I mean by like making deposits, right?
Okay.
That way it's like when you want to withdraw, like, hey man, can I get a table in 30 minutes on a Saturday night? It's easy, like, yeah, bro, I got you.
Okay.
Right? I got you.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And for the listeners like coming into it, that's why I try to use that debit card analogy. Just always make sure that you have more than enough in your account. In sort of that social account, that relational account, that economic account. Like that's just true of everything. I feel like that's been a huge part of my career and my ability to like create success and sustain success and build out culture is that even I believe in owning the business and running multiple businesses and winning, scaling, fast failing. You know, sometimes we have to close restaurants, right? Yeah. We can say it's fair that like, hey, we've made a few $million. I can tell you right now with like one brand that was like really near and dear to us, like we loved Ginger Street. We loved it downtown.
The orange chicken.
It was like new to the market. It was a little ahead of its time. It was kind of poor timing downtown, but that cost us over $1 million. That's $1 million real money. Right? That's just like, that sits in right now. You're like, damn. Yeah, Dirty Bird home run, Sunday's best home run, Oak crushing. Picarica seems to be early, still in the honeymoon phase. Like people still got to keep falling in love. We got to keep falling in love. But that one like hurt, right? It stings, right? Like no one wants to lose like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still real.
Yeah.
You know, it's still real. So really introducing Oak and like, again, just bringing back like a true neighborhood bistro and creating that kind of vibe. I mean, I love it. People ask me, like, you ever going to scale it? I'm like, no, that's just not a scalable reality. Like, that's just neighborhood.
Yeah.
Would I put up another neighborhood bistro? Hell yeah. But I'm not going to do another Oak. Like, Oak belongs to Draper. It's Draper's. Other people get invited into it, but it belongs to Draper.
Man, we got to go try it out.
Yeah, that'd be
because if you're about to
let me know when you go.
Yeah,
I'm going to
his card.
Let me know.
Our hot honey pepperoni, I'm telling you right now, dude.
That pizza's different too. Oh my gosh. Our
pizza, we have the best pizza in the state. Like I know pizza out here, people are gonna be talking some shit. That's fine. I called you out, gangster in my bio. I'll show you what we mean about that shit. Like I'll show you what we mean about it. Listen, like pizza for pizza, our hot honey pep, lights out. I already know. I know how many I sell every month. I know who shows up for it. I got a little bit of. I got some of the. I got the insider info.
Yeah,
right.
It slaps,
man. I love pizza. So the hardest thing about eating pizza in Utah is that there's not a go-to place for me because I tried all of them downtown. They all kind of taste the same eventually, and they start to lose their taste. And like I've been trying Slackwater out, but I haven't made it down that far. So now that you guys are vouching for it,
let me know when you go. I'm going to order the wings and the French fries, and I will just eat the pizza.
I'm trying to get that hot honey pepperoni.
My chef there, Chef Ian Jensen, dude's from the Big Island. He's dope.
Elite. Oh my goodness.
He's just dope. And listen, there's been a lot. Like we've gone through hundreds and hundreds of iterations of our dough early. You know, my old partner, another wizard, Chef Brandon Price. Like, dude, he's a straight up, like I said this about Jason, but he's a straight up bread whisperer. Like, bro, like the dude just, like, he just gets it. And so our dough is just unmatched, bro.
The team you have around you is kind of amazing. Like you speak so highly of your chefs, bro. You know, and that's what it is.
I was going to say, how do you maintain and build these relationships and how do you meet these people? And
bro, this is like,
this goes deep.
Fuck, bro. You know what's up? Like, there's 4 of you?
Yeah.
No.
I'm so glad you're here.
Like, this is
what I need.
I'm about to go sit in one of your kitchens with you.
This is what's, oh shit. This is what's dope. If I broke that shit.
No, you're fine.
No, you're good.
Send me the bill, but send me the recipe what I ate earlier.
That's actually my recipe. So
hell yeah.
Mine's,
Listen,
I have a very distinct.
I'm talking to CEO.
You can't sell me.
No.
I can't be sold.
Bro, here's a bit of that cheat code. People ask me this often.
Yeah.
When you meet my squad, you meet my brand manager, you meet my assistant, you meet my business partners, you meet, dude, honestly, bro, you can meet a host, you can meet a dishwasher, you meet a meat cutter, You can meet a prep team, like you meet a barista or a bar back or a bartender for me. Like, one, I don't fuck with people that don't vibe. Like, I just don't. Like, if you just don't catch the vibe, like, if I can't high five you, give you a hug, like run up the mountain with you, like you're just, it's not my style. Go work somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta know I can be you.
High energy. Yeah.
I love that you said that because we were at Sunday's Best. And literally, you were like, you walked in.
This is before we even knew each other, though.
What up?
We didn't even know each other, right?
All your employees, you gave them
everybody.
You dabbed them up. You gave them high five. You said, "Good job, good morning, good afternoon." Like,
and I was wearing daddy hoochie shorts, like little 5-inchers, huh?
The leopard print.
The leopard print. I don't even know, bro.
It was the leopard print because I was like looking. I was like, it's very unique. Leopard prints on. Then you said you went hiking, so I was like, makes sense.
Listen, bro, you trying to say I can't wear leopard on like a Tuesday?
You can wear. You can wear leopard whatever you want.
So one, like, we have to vibe. The second thing is, like, I'm all in till I'm all out. There's no in between. Okay. I don't treat you any different. It doesn't matter if I pay you more or I pay you less, based off of like your skill set and where you land in like kind of the wage scale and our architecture. But the reality is, like, if you're a GM and you're a host, it's the same for me. But I just love you.
Yeah.
Till I don't.
Yeah.
And if not, like, I'm slow to hire, I'm fast to fire. That's just the reality. Ooh. So I protect that environment.
Okay.
Well, the next thing is, dude, give people a reason to work for you. That's it. Like, just make sure that you just align, like, philosophically, vibe, energy. Right? Like, make sure you have that. Make sure that connectivity is there. Like, treat everyone good. Like, remember, dude, they're showing up on your mission, not theirs. Like, they want to get paid.
Yeah.
But if you, like, really want them, you want good guys that you can brag about, you want gals that you can celebrate, then you got to check those boxes. And so when you give people a reason to work for you, it duplicates in its likeness. Mm-hmm. It just does.
Beautiful.
Like, it just duplicates in its likeness.
Beautiful.
Like, I did this deal I spoke at the Marriott School of Business. Little different from my vibe. One, like, Crimson's in my blood, dude. I'm a Utah fan.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Utah, but baby, like, I love it. I bleed to it. I donate to it. I participate in it. But getting invited to the Marriott School of Business, like, that's a prestigious business school, right? Like, you got to look at, like, BYU's the Ivy League for Mormons. So, like, they got accepted to Stanford, right? But their parents were like, no, you're going to BYU. You need to get married.
Go Cougs.
Right? And dude, I did that deal. And not only was, like, basically a standing ovation afterwards, but there was a line of people. And there were 27 people in the class. I got 24 new followers on Instagram and 12 inquiries, and 6 people asked for jobs.
I love
and those metrics I just kicked out to you are real.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, yo, I just, like, your energy, I'm attracted to it. Like, we want to, like, I want to be on your events team. I want to work with the athletes. I want to work with entertainers. I want to, I'm like, do you really want to come out and serve like 700 people a day? and the reality is, they're like, hell yeah. And so another beautiful question, like, I just never forget the stock. Yeah. I just never forget what people are worth.
Right.
I spent a big part of my life not being seen. That was something that was interesting for me as, like, a kid. Like, I didn't get picked at freaking whatever they call it, your skating rink, get a little, like,
the snowball
around.
dance.
Like, I got told no to school dances for a long time. Now people be begging to get on the list to show up to my parties. But it's just it's a different reality. Like, that comes from really being one that, like, I didn't get invited to the table, so I just built my own. And I feel like now my table became, like, one of the biggest and most inviting, but you got to earn a seat there. Right? Because for so long, I just didn't get invited to one. Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah.
Like, all that just, like, blew my mind. Like, that was just like, I just felt like we were just at a TED Talk and you just threw everything at me, and I was just like,
listen, bro, we're here to fuck it up,
dude. And it's so true.
And you can mute all those, by the way. I just tell me who I am.
It's raw and authentic. It's neat.
We're all here.
It's really
tell me who I am. I do. By the way, I did drop a dang though. I said dang right at the Marriott School. I was like, fuck. And I was like, oh, you know what? It's me. It's me, baby.
It's the raw and authentic version. That's why people like buy in.
That's who I am. That's just who I am.
Absolutely.
And like before Bryan actually reaching out to me, he said, hey, you guys should have this guy on the podcast. And like, I went on a deep dive. Like, I was going through your stuff. I listened to that podcast you were on, and it was just like, what you're showing me now, it's authentic. Like, this is who you are. Like, every time I've seen you, like from the restaurant, I've only met you one time before this. The restaurant, I watched.
Well, you guys were obviously observing before I knew it was you, right? Yeah. Because you guys were like wrapping up, and I saw you start your experience. Like, I saw your steak hit the table.
Yeah.
Right, and that was to me because I was like, hey, did like they order it medium rare? I want to make sure it was on point. Like, you don't even know, but like I'm that guy who, like I said, I'm not a culinarian, but I'm an expert in the standard because I wrote it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Like I may not be the one that's like actually singing the song, but I wrote it.
Yeah.
I wrote it. I know exactly how it's supposed to be.
So you're the composer of all
100%.
And
so when I look back, I'm like, yo, like, what the fuck? You're like, where are we at? You know, like, whoa. Like, I don't care if it's the volume level, the lighting, the chairs, the windows, the restrooms. They're like, why do you have a diffuser and a candle? Because we like to party. Because who wants to walk into a restroom that smells like shit? Like, bro, it's brunch. When you drink coffee, what happens? So those are the things that
you just thought about it all.
Yeah, like I don't know any other way, man.
Yeah.
I like being highly observant is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's distracting, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like I've saved people's lives from it. Right here, actually, one time on 215, I was driving to the airport, hauling my ass. Gal in front of me spun out in a F-150. She spun out and rolled just past like the spaghetti factory on 215. I was on my way to the airport. It actually took me about 100 yards to stop because of the ice. So I stopped off the side of the road. She's up on her side now, like it's on the driver's side. The passenger side's up. It's smoking, but not like crazy damage. But she's screaming. But I didn't even think twice, bro. I just ran down, jumped in. It was like vigilante shit. I like ripped the door open. I grabbed her. She's bleeding. She's crying a little bit. I'm like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I grabbed her. I carried her up to the snow. I just dropped off. I'm not saying that that's like to be highly observant, but so many people and that kind of, they're going to think like,
man of action.
Wait a minute, all these things. I'm like, yo,
They're gonna pull out
I'll
their
deal
phone.
with like getting a little bit of blood on me. I'll deal with these kind of things. I saw another gal years prior, like it was actually the day after Thanksgiving. And it was right out of the side of this Walmart on 114 South and just like below the freeway.
Yeah.
And I saw some purple legs. I was like, wait a minute. Something's up. I'm pretty sure this gal had like overdosed, but then she'd like lost her temp and it was cold out. But I drove by, I saw it, so I backed up. I pulled her out. Walked in, grabbed a blanket out of my truck. Another lady flagged down. She came over. Ambulance came over. She for sure she was in shock and hypothermia, the stuff that's kind of happening that way. But I'm just like, who notices that? Maybe a lot of people do. I just pay attention when I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right? It's almost like this beautiful distraction of being observant. It saves people's lives, not just like make sure your food's good. Yeah.
No, and wow, it's like one thing after another. It's just like I have to like bring it all in and like come back to the podcast. What
I'll give you some time.
No,
Who is this man?
Yeah, who is this man? Who is this? Where's the cape? But I love that you are just the observant part about you is that you're just a man of action. You know, you don't think twice. You're just like you got the questions. You got to get the questions answered, or if not, you're gonna solve it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's just like having a quick processor.
Yeah.
In a sense. So you were saying you did a deep dive.
Yeah.
You're like seeing this. You see me in the restaurants. You see all this stuff happening.
This deep dive here. We actually have a quote that you commented on.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I want to know your take on this. I want to know a personal how you feel about this.
Cool.
Right? You responded to this though.
Okay.
So leadership is not about a title or a designation. It's about impact, influence, and inspiration. Impact involves getting results. Influence is about spreading the passion you have for work and have to inspire teammates and customers. So we saw someone commented on one of your posts and we screenshot it and just like, man, this is really cool that you actually responded. But what does that mean to you though? Robert Sherman changed a lot of lives. You know.
So it's kind of interesting. Everything to me has a little more depth to it now. I think for a long time, I was more surface level. I was just like, it's like locker room pep talk. Like, just go win. And now it's like, yo, be healthy, be connective, share, like inspire, influence. And it really comes down to like, you asked me like, what, like one, you respond to everyone like, yo, if you're going to take time to comment, I'm not too big to recognize the people that follow me. I've never done giveaways, bro. I've never bought followers. I don't have a ton of followers, but I will tell you this much. The followers I do have, I've earned.
Yeah.
And I have super high engagement for that number of followers. Mm-hmm. And I stay authentic to it. You know, I oftentimes like I'll kick out something, a post, I'll have a thought about it and I'll lose a few followers. Sometimes I'll kick out a post and I'll kick out something and I'll get a bunch. But specifically on that post, it really goes back to like my core. Like I never really even knew being a business owner was like possible.
Yeah.
I never knew that like creating this kind of success would be possible. And I remember I'd like drive down these neighborhoods, or I'd be at gas stations, or, I'd see like, here's me and my mom, like we're in the Monte Carlo. My mom's paying with change. Like we're trying to figure out how to just make it happen. My mom, my dad, and, they, for what they knew. And I think the development and mentoring and resources they were provided, they started the family young. They had my sister. My mom was 15. My dad was 16 or 17. And you got to remember, that's in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's radically different than having a child now at 17 with the resources, advancements in our emotional IQ and everything that comes along with it. And so it just goes back to like seeing where I came from. And whether you have 1,000 people, 100 people, 10 people, or 1 million people like activated and responding and engaging with your content, to me, it's just meaningful. And so I feel like if I can treat it at this level, then I feel like I can continue to treat it at every level, because there was a time when I had 100 followers or 200 followers or 300 followers, and before 10,000, and that was a big deal. So one, I'm always going to do that. Second is I feel like anytime someone takes the time to be thoughtful, engage, and maybe share some of their philosophy or insight, I want to share with them a bit of the recipe and the method, right? And so when you ask me, like, you take that, you're thoughtful, you're engaging this, like, what does it mean to you? I'm gonna use a reference here, but it's like you want to bake this cake, and you can see the cake and you've tasted it, right? But the reality is you don't have the recipe or the method, and you cook, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I think you all do, but you cook for sure. And what happens is getting the ingredients, the recipe right, is pretty easy. Mm-hmm. Go buy them, go source them, get them in the bowl. But where we mess up, like where we miss it, is in the method. It's like what you learn from your grandma, what you learn from your mom, what you learned from just like trial and error, little cheat codes, little things that you don't want to share about the recipe, right? Am I true?
True.
Am I right? Like,
true.
They're like, I'm not going to actually tell you about the rub I use. A lot of it has to do with temperature, right? Yeah. Temperature and time. That's where people are like, I'll give you everything, but I'm not going to tell this like
the little things, the little thing for you.
It's those little things in the method that the majority are lacking that I share.
Yeah.
Because I want everyone to bake the fucking cake. Because listen, dude, we all need a tiny bit of the available market share to be wildly successful. And I'm just like, dude, share it. So if I got a moment to share the method, what you got a little taste of was the method, just a little bit of that. I'm going to take it just another 10 feet further for you. And if you catch it, I think you're going to bake. The cake.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I mean?
Man, I'm going to have to share the secret recipe, huh?
Hey, I think there's something beautiful about if you are truly willing to champion others to their fullest potential, what you got to realize is the confidence it takes, the self-awareness it takes in you to do that, bro, you're actually the biggest winner. My opinion. Like, dude, have I made the most money? No. Have I lost the most money? No. Have I created the most success? No. But have I created a lot? Yeah. Have I taken a ton of people with me, my size? Hell yeah. Yeah.
Man, that's what kind of where we're at too, is like when we started this, I wanted to just build a community around it. And that was the whole thing about doing Off the Menu, is highlighting the people in, Utah, and we're trying to, reach out from there. But what we've done on our journey so far in the last 5 months probably.
Yeah.
We've been able to reach out to people we've never even thought we could never talk to. And hearing you just like, in a way, the captain of your ship, and you're the one driving you're the one posting
Let me drive the boat.
everything, yeah, you're like, oh, you want to drive the boat? Come with me.
He said, let me show you how to do it real quick.
100%, man. Like, dude, by the way, like, congrats. Right? There's a lot of noise out there. So I can see, like, you take this kind of approach that you took with me with other people, you're in pretty good shape. I've been on, I don't even know how many podcasts, a lot.
Yeah.
I've said no to a lot. I've said yes to a lot. My team most definitely does like a bit of their due diligence.
Yeah. Their little deep dives.
Yeah. They just, again, there's a quality and there's a quality and value of your brand and your association. And like, I can tell you right now, like, my team has most definitely been like, hey, not the right one. Or like, we've been on before, like, hey, they just don't know that the association's good.
Yeah.
Right. And typically, like, I got a pretty good meter on that, like running with the instinct. But yeah, you guys are doing something cool, like early in your time, and welcoming good people and having, good advocates and people around you that are connected. Like, the relationships make all the difference.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that, like, you can sell your own message all day long,
but you have an advocate on your behalf, not getting paid to wear your brand, but also talk about it. Like they're a straight up evangelist. Like that's just different. You know, that's different. So, man, did you get that this early? Like, would you say episode 29?
Yeah, episode 29.
This is gonna be a good one.
It is.
I know it's gonna be a good one.
I'm gonna go back to the clip of like where you were just like talking, you know, like right, and then just like I'm gonna clip it and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna repeat this like every morning. Like this is what I need to hear.
Like, yeah, like if you guys want a little like locker room pep talk, we can talk through some intentions too. But
I hear you. No, that's awesome. So when did you realize that this was like a reality for you? When did that happen? Like when was it like, oh shit, I can actually fucking do this shit?
No, you know what's crazy? Dude, sometimes I don't even know what the hell I'm doing.
No, and that's
Like
fair.
straight up. Like, I like
Hey.
I'm like, I don't even know what the like. But honestly, like, man, I like the variable. I like the little bit of the adversity. I like the trenches of opportunity. I like the unknown.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I'm just not afraid to look bad.
I like that.
Like even though people are like, oh, bro, you're polished, you got this, you got that. Like honestly, now that you know me and you see me, like it's just real. The beautiful thing about my personal brand is it actually is me. I actually don't show up differently on Instagram. Right. Instagram for me, especially my stories, is like an open journal.
Yeah.
Like that's just me.
Yeah.
Right? Like man, you can't be afraid to fail.
Right.
And when you live authentically, there's just a different charge about it. And I've done some shit. Like I most definitely like, bro, I have ruined relationships. I have been fired. I have been sued. I have cheated. I have been cheated. I've divorced. Bro, like I've been kicked out. Like that's just real. Right? Like I've been in bar fights, you know, but like
It's not all glitz and glamour. There's
like
a lot
at
of
the
it
end of the
behind.
day, man, like, dude, I just overcame like three tough weeks in a row. Just adversity. Like I felt like, dude, a week ago, I took it on the chin. I took it in the nuts. Like it was just over and over. It was like a meme. But here I am, dude. I came out. I'm like, at the end of the day though, bro, no one else gets to choose your happiness. Like you are in direct control of you no matter what.
Yeah.
So I tell people like, bro, like don't take the environment and blame your energy. You control that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Leave. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Go do something different. Like it's just like we are in direct control of what we have direct control over. And the number one thing we have direct control over is us and our attitude.
Yeah. Ooh, I was checking myself at work the other day because of that.
Bro.
Because I work at Ruth's Chris. I work
Okay.
with a lot of people.
Hell yeah. Downtown?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
good for
do.
you. Yeah.
And I just I had to check myself because I was getting attitude, and I was like, I just can't respond to people then they're stressed or frustrated because that's them.
Yep.
And how they speak to me.
Yep.
And so it's just one of those.
You're
things
probably like an empath in a sense. So you take on other people's energy a little bit or no?
I don't like to.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I do, honestly.
Okay.
It bounces off me pretty well. But there's sometimes
don't be a dick.
Yeah. Ooh, that's hard.
Like, you know what I mean? No, like
Yeah,
just don't be a-
like
just-
people
like,
test the patience like a lot. I
But
like,
no,
just like don't be a dick,
No,
yeah.
but 100%.
Yeah.
I'm and I say this honestly, I'm a dickhead. I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
I mean, I don't know you well, right? At all. But like, that's where I'm like,
Bryan knows him well
maybe,
enough.
Maybe that's where you're like, hey, I'm kind of a dick. I'm like, well, man, don't be a dick.
He said, "Don't be an asshole."
Yeah. Like,
No, but it's just transparency and blunt. I'd like to say. So I have to. It's just choosing your words, right?
Yeah.
And how you use them, and the attitude and the sound that you have.
Sure.
Instead of being snappy, stuff like that. So I had to check myself at work because of stuff like that.
dude,
while working with the people.
by the way, like self-awareness,
Yeah.
dude, another superpower. Like so many people just, one, they just ignore it. Two, they're just like, honestly, like some people are just dumb. And like when you have a responsibility to like check on that, like, dude, that's dope. And people have bad days.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, but honestly, I just don't rest in it. They don't control me. Like I'll
Right.
sit in them for a bit. Like it's okay to like shut it down, to take a walk.
Yeah.
Like go hit your vape if that's what you do. Like, I mean, I don't smoke. Like I was actually one of those guys like didn't get high on his own supply. Like that's how I started in business. You know, I started selling cigarettes in 6th grade.
6th grade?
Jesus
Grade, bro.
Christ.
Most people
Whoa.
like they had like the lawn mowing business. I had that too. I made all my money
How did
selling
you get
singles and
cigarettes in
packs.
6th grade?
Yeah.
Right, bro.
Listen, bro.
Was
It's
it-
now
is
it's
it
now
easier?
a fire station.
Yeah.
It's now a fire station, but it used to be called a Metro Mart up on my house. I had a deal, man. Dude just gave me cartons for $10. My dad was cool about it. Interestingly enough, my dad smoked Cowboy Killers Reds. He still does. I think he smokes menthols now, but I never smoked. I don't smoke.
Mhm.
But I kept a carton in the freezer for my dad when I was a kid. He just let me get my singles and my packs ready, and I did that till I was a junior in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Who's okay, hold on. Who's buying
You're
from you in
12
sixth
years
grade?
old,
Yeah,
man.
you're
That's crazy.
12, 13 years
Bro,
old.
listen, in the 90s, bro, people
You're on the block. You're just on the block, like
listen,
cigarettes for sale, cigarettes for sale.
Kids were hacking on darts, bro. When I was a kid, it was different. And
Yeah.
by the way, they do now. Like
Yeah.
I'm not an advocate for smoking. I'm not like I don't sell cigarettes or tobacco now. But in the 90s, bro, there was a vibe. It was like being in Europe, like you being in Spain, in Sandy. Like everyone wanted to smoke.
It's true though, because like outside of the U.S. with the age restrictions and stuff, but like you go to Europe, everyone's smoking cigarettes. You go to like even Japan, like they literally have
Asian too.
cigarettes.
They smoke
so
cigarettes.
Like they have vending machines that you can buy from, and same thing with beer and stuff too.
It's just a part of the culture.
Yeah.
And now again, I think if you willingly smoke a pack of cigarettes right now, like there's a lot of other ways to die.
Yeah,
There's a lot of other things you could do.
Yeah.
A lot of other chemicals you can consume if you so choose to alter in that way. And I'm not an advocate for any of that. Like
Yeah.
I'm a full believer in full mental faculty. Like I just am. But yeah, that's kind of wild. I went off on your.
no, you're good.
No,
You're good. That's
I love that you shared that though, because Ruth Chris too. Like people go in there for an experience.
It's a fine. Yeah.
And nothing will spoil the culture quicker than a bad attitude. Like a bad attitude duplicates in its likeness far greater than a good attitude. Because it's actually, interestingly enough, somebody said, you guys follow Jordan Peterson?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, right? So so I saw him live. My boy Sean Whalen brought him out. And what was really cool about this, and I was like front row, dude, they styled me out. It was so dope. And he goes, you know why like people don't want to be happy, right? He's like, because it's harder to be happy in today's society than it is to be pissed off and disgruntled and frustrated and such. And he said the same thing. He was like, you know why people lie? Because lies are a lot easier to tell than the truth. That's why society lies so much. And I kind of feel that way about like attitude as well. Like it takes intention.
Mhm.
It takes consistency. It takes accountability.
Yeah.
Keep your shit together, you know? And I know for me, dude, I can spoil a batch as quick as I can sweeten it. I can go from like, dude, high-fiving you to being the biggest asshole on the planet. And sometimes I got to realize like, dude, I'm just like a run the ball up the middle.
Yeah.
Like run them, like I love
Just
LeSean,
head on.
like
Yeah.
I'll run them through a face, like
Yeah.
over and over. Like that's my style. But if you can do that with a smile, you do that in a positive way, and you can carry the ball in that with that kind of intent, just it hits different. Yeah.
Oh, man, attitude check.
For sure, attitude check.
No, I'm
for
actually
that guy right there.
Whatever.
We actually had the same discussion like last week. It's like it's
I was gonna
easier.
say, it's easier to well, and contrary to you say, like we were talking about last episode, like it's a lot easier it is to love than it is to hate. Like when we mean by working with individuals or talking to people, it's a lot easier to show
Compassion.
love. Yeah, compassion and love and intent than it is to be, disgruntled, rude.
I think that's
feel like-
that's more natural.
yeah.
yeah,
I think it's most definitely more natural. I think in today's society though, like it takes a little different intent.
People are very closed off.
Dude, like,
And
for good reason in some ways.
yeah, not to say it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I'm an individual, I'd like to say similar to yourself, where I like to be that person
Yeah.
and talk to a lot of people and network and build
Do you
relationships.
serve? Is that what you do there?
Yeah, basically. I food run back bar.
Cool. Yeah.
Stuff like that. So stuff like that. I just enjoy it. Meeting, it's a human experience. Human interaction is a beautiful thing. And we all experience it in our own individual ways. And you take control of everything like you mentioned, and how you build those relationships and how you show yourself
Yeah.
and how they perceive you. You're in control of that somehow.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome about it.
yeah.
But everybody has a different opinion.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And listen, we all get to own our own opinions, and that's all they are.
Yeah.
It doesn't need anybody else's code, right? It doesn't, like, it's just own that shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for you, outside the business and stuff, how do you wind down? What is a normal day for you look like outside the
Yeah,
business?
you said
'Cause
you
last time
bull
like,
shark.
it's crazy because you were like I said, he went hiking and then showed up to the restaurant. Like, when do you wind down? You have a daughter, you have a wife,
Yeah. I got 3 daughters.
3 daughters.
You have
Yeah,
two
I got-
adorable twins.
Yeah, I got
Wow.
twins. I have so my 12-year-old that turns 13 this week. So we're in a birthday week right now.
Oh,
And then I
happy
have-
early birthday.
Yeah.
Early
L-
birthday.
LG, she's dope. And then I have twins, Veda Lucille and Vera Maxine, and they turn 2 next month.
Oh my goodness.
And man, they were a gift. they came in the most sort of abstract way. Like it just, they showed up in our lives, and I know there's a bigger message, like this like bigger, like more healing, furthering, more connective way. And it challenged me and kind of charged me to like step outside of like where I've been and who I've been to kind of like where I am and where I'm going and who I need to be. And, you know, they really shifted like a huge maxim for me that, you know, if you would have asked me this like same question like 2 years ago, like, what do you do and why do you do it? And, you know, today it's like, it's really clear for me. Like I want to be as healthy as I can possibly be to live for as long as I can so that I can be the beacon that those girls need. Right. That's a big one for me. And so showing up to that version, that's like why I believe in full mental faculty. It's why I believe in like building others in the healthiest, like most sustaining
Health
way.
is wealth,
Like,
right? So it's kind of
it's
like
a big
that.
one. I discounted it, dude. You're like, when you have resources in life and relevance and layers, whether that's in your architecture, your work, or in your home, like you feel a bit invincible until you're not. Like nothing's guaranteed. But I treated my body like shit at 30. I don't treat my body like shit now.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
Like I just like I've lost 60 pounds this year. Like I do not put the same things in my body I once did. And I show up different. My influence is a bit different. Like what do I agree to associate with is different. And a huge part of it has to do from like those girls showing up. Like it's made me a better dad to my first. It's made me a better partner, a better friend. And so a big part of that comes from just, I think at some point you got to reconcile. And you're either going to lose it all or you're going to have it all and you're going to have nothing to really be able to show for it. Like you'll be so gone and lost and unaware of your own identity and have no relationships around you. Trust me, like I got friends that ball in their jets and their Ferraris right now. And I have friends that like are the happiest, like sparkly go-getting fuckers you've ever seen in a Civic. Like they're just happy as can be. Right. And reality of it is I want both. Like I want it all. Right. And I think having it all is you need like your best mind and your best body. And so he asked me like, where do I go? How do I counterbalance? I don't know if you saw my post today, but I actually shared this.
Yeah.
I've been going up this canyon called Bell's Canyon, just like right at the top of 9400 South. I've been going up there since about 2008. One of my good friends, Jesse Askey, took me up there just like on a whim one day. And he was telling me about how their journeys used to be up there, like high school kids and getting lost in the hills and doing what, you know, shitty 16 and 17-year-old kids do. And I just loved it. And I fell in love with it. And I probably on average, even with missing the seasons, because when we're in season, I'm going up there 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Wow.
But you know, in the winter, deep winter, I'm not going up there at all. So I think it's fair to say that I probably go up there somewhere in the ballpark of 100 to 150 times a year. And I did this for years before I even realized that it's actually where I go to counterbalance. It's where I go to counter my vibration. It's way bigger than me.
Yeah. Would you say it's more like a mental reset for you when you're up there?
It's just, I get clear.
Yeah.
I get fulfilled. It's like, here I am, you know, if I take like the valley and I feel like I'm big and magnetic and I have a lot of ambition, I have a lot of dream, I have a lot of energy, I have a lot to give. I get up there though, and it's just so much bigger than me that it just like, it calms me. Like it just calms me down. It creates this opportunity for me to process differently. And dude, you want to talk about finding that place is like one thing, but like honoring it and then leaning into it and then going there multiple times a week. And it gives me the same. Like every time I get up there, bro doesn't care if I'm trying to cover a $100,000 payroll or a $3 million build out, you know, or I'm going through a divorce or, you know, all of a sudden I'm surprised with these new babies. Like I just get up there, bro, and it just like, man. And I don't know where you guys go for that or if you have a place like that or anyone who's listening in, but find a place like that, especially if you're in a high frequent and a high touch environment. If you're in like retail, if you're in like leadership, if you're in sales, you know, if you're an athlete, you're an entertainer, like you need that because what happens is you find a place to escape. You know, I would say try to find the healthiest, brightest, you know, most approachable way instead of, you know, hiding out in your closet.
Yeah.
I've done that too. Like straight up.
Yeah.
Like I've leaned into the vices that don't serve you like that. So you're hearing from someone that's like, no blinders. Like I've lived this life. Like I also spend every week and 3 days every quarter, 3 to 4 days every quarter, and 1 hour every week with 49 other men that are business owners, that are highly successful, that are fathers, that are husbands, that have been their boyfriends, their partners, and I see what men deal with. You know, I see specifically what we hide from, you know, what we suppress, what we push down, and so that candy, man, it's a bit of God for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's once again beautiful. The whole time you were telling me that story is like it's like I don't have a place that I can go to, but I always relate to one of my favorite movies is Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
And there's a part where they're drifting inside the mountains and they're like talking about just everything going away.
Yep.
That moment they're sitting in the car and
It almost
drifting
gets
around the
blurry,
corners.
right?
Yeah.
In the scene, if I remember it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're talking about no past, no future, just now, you know, and and so when you're telling me that, and it's like very tranquility, you know, that's what people need now. And like being out in the sun or just listening to music or doing what they need to do to find that inner peace.
And I listen to it. Right? Like the energy guides me. Bro, I'm not like, I don't get into a meditative state. I'm not like, trust me, I'm not the best with breath. I do cold plunge all the time before it was like a trend and shit.
Everyone cold plunge now.
And like, this is like, you know, I backyard plunge, but bro, I've been breaking through the ice. Like the first time I went, I literally went up the canyon in February with one of my friends and jumped in the water and like squealed like a fish. Like it just like, it was wild. But it is really one of these experiences that we as humans need, right? That could be, some people like to be wrapped up. They want a little bit more of that like cocoon feel. I've seen people that it's music for them. You know, it's whatever it can be. But you got to roll.
Yeah. So we're getting down to the hour mark, and we have actually a lot of questions. If you're
Let's
still
do it.
fine with
Yeah,
that.
hell yeah, let's go.
I know you had a list of
You're not
questions.
kicking me
and
out,
stuff.
bro.
No, we're not kicking you out. We're still going.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we kind of talked about all the entrepreneurship and the food and stuff. Outside of the food, is there any other businesses that you are seeing or upcoming that you might be dipping your toes in?
Yeah. Another great question. I don't know if I have to keep saying that or not, but
No, you're fine.
I'm doing that shit.
I do it all the time.
So I'm doing that shit.
Here's what's beautiful. I do believe that when you know your lane well, and just lean into it. That's something for me that I've developed a recipe and a method that creates success, and it just seems to bake this cake. You know, I've opened dozens and dozens of restaurants. I think over 11 brands, and you know, many are still very viable in the marketplace. And so, when you know your wheelhouse, you invest in it. You know, I put the majority of my wealth and investment portfolio on our own brands. That's a big part of it. But I am a believer in other things, and I do really believe in sports and entertainment. I most definitely like brands and apparel. I'm involved in those things, as well as real estate. I like real estate a lot. I like it specifically for, you know, preserving your cash. I'm not one that's a big believer in the cash flow of real estate or owning as many doors as you possibly can. I'm one that like believes in tax code and the ability to take your money and stash it and protect it.
Yeah.
And grow it through beautiful appreciation and depreciation over art and tax for them. And that's something that you can learn from the uber rich, as well as those that set policy happen to be the uber rich that can take advantage from it. In our society, that's just a place to be. And so one thing for me specifically is I like commercial real estate a lot, especially if our business is inside of it. Right. And so like the Sunday's Best building, like I own that building, my partner and I, and that's, it's over an acre on State Street in Sandy, Utah, a block and a half from I-15. It's not going anywhere.
No, that's prime real estate right there.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Right? That's like my family's, legacy kind of opportunity for me. And those are properties that I plan to hold forever. Right. And so real estate, brand, entertainment, and I like lifestyle a lot. So if there's lifestyle behind any one of those, I'm pretty leaned into it.
Wow. That's you kind of everything then, right? So like you
I
kind
think
of
anything around this vibe,
yeah.
like anything that's around, you know,
The energy
this-
has to match you,
Yeah.
and like it has to like everything has to like you said, like it has to just vibe
Mesh.
together.
Totally.
Yeah, it has to like
you get it. Be like you're behind the lens a lot. By the way, like shout out to you. Like you make me look fucking good on film. Like straight up. Like I'm like, bro, you take like a 9 to like a 14. So. And by the way, if you lack that confidence, you shouldn't. Like we're so beautiful in our own way. Like we were created that way. There's no two of us the same. Like own who you are. I think there was like, you know, I was nicknamed Chunk as a kid. Like I was literally like right out of the movie Goonies, and I embraced it. I just embrace who I am. I embrace every one of my shapes, like every bit of it. Like I you know, some things I think I enjoy more, but you know, you got to lean into it and love your you know, love your style and love your vibe. But yeah, it has to be on vibe for me. Like I only want to be with people that I vibe with.
no, for sure.
And so that's true of like partners, investors. Like if I'm coming in on the equity side, if I'm coming in on a thought partnership and advisory side, I still don't fuck with it if I don't like it. And if I don't like you, I will for sure not do it. Like you have the best product in the world, but if you're an asshole, I'm out. I just am. Which
That's-
you know, I might miss a meta deal from time to time or something crazy. Like I you know, I never had a chance to be in Facebook, but you know, maybe that would be something that I might miss out because sometimes I don't vibe with the super geeks.
Yeah.
But again, I want to enjoy it.
And so you hosted a lot of parties. And I remember All-Star Weekend was this past year, and I heard you did some
Movie.
some crazy stuff.
Motion
Travis
picture.
Scott.
Oh, that's wild.
How did you know? How do you get your connections with people like that to bring on around? You know, you could say Travis Scott's a superstar, right?
Yo,
So,
like
how,
this is kind of interesting. I've really learned this in professional athletes, as well as entertainers, right? Specifically rappers, and it's all trust. That's it. Like you got to realize that you're walking into this. They're highly skeptical in a lot of ways for good reason, and you just make deposits. And dude, I had kind of no business being in that business until I had a reason to. And it really happened. Like Jordan Clarkson and his camp, I had already been taken care of. And when they reached out to me and said, hey, we want to put together this event, then they introduced me to Clutch Sports. And at that point, it was over. It was like, once Clutch is on board, you're just like, yep. I mean, they have the influence. They have the athletes, and they have the brand deals. Yeah. And they're like, hey, you're already respected. You've worked in these two camps that happen to be our players. I had no idea, by the way, who Clutch Sports was about 3 months before All-Star. I had no idea who Rich Paul was. I had no idea. Like, maybe my ignorance was bliss. I mean, dude, he walked into my he sat at Sunday's Best.
Yeah, really.
He's the biggest of the biggest in that world, and he's as like down to earth and as cool as can be, right? And that was really it. It was the relationship that I believe that I had created and harvested with the Clarksons that really introduced us. And then the movie that we put on, like Bryan said, downtown, 2 nights in a row, will be talked about forever.
The rest of Utah's existence.
Like it was, no one expected Utah to show up that way.
It was so lit.
And no one expected Utah to
so
show up that
busy.
way.
Utah was so lit. It's the latest I've ever seen the city be.
People are like, yo, what did it take to get Travis Scott, on the mic two nights in a row? Because, Travis Scott to show up to like do a meet and greet is like $550K.
Yeah.
He's like 700 if he gets on the microphone.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he and Clarkson are boys. They just needed an environment. They needed the ones and twos in a cool spot. They just needed a vibe. And that's what we did. We just curated a vibe that no one was actually expecting or ready for in Utah. And by night 2, it went from one level of 300 people to 4 levels of thousands of people. And I mean, the stuff that I learned afterwards, like I didn't even know that E was at my party. My brand manager, Bryan, who he literally sat on the steps at Exchange Place and chopped it up with Kanye for like 15 minutes, like one-on-one.
Wow.
Drama's there, Travis Scott's there, every relevant player in the
Drama was
NBA,
So
boys-
like
Drewski.
everybody
My
was
boys
there.
ran into him.
You were up there a bit too, right?
I was here both nights. I just remember like, oh man, there's just the crazy. I was just running around honestly because
Yeah.
hey, can you get me in? Hey, can you get me in? I'm like, I just want to enjoy this, but I'm like,
Yeah.
gotta do it. What you gotta do?
That's one thing I did learn. Like as the owner and the host, like never show up to the front door. Like I just didn't know the club business. I mean, you got to remember the first time I threw a club vibe was for All Star, bigger than we've ever done it in this state before.
I'm going to the side door, Mike,
Like,
every time.
like
I'm not
it
doing
just-
that ever again.
It was insane, but at the same time, like, bro, I just had this feeling like I was supposed to be there,
Right.
and my team just, bro, they handled it. You know, Utah doesn't see that kind of star power
No, it doesn't.
consistently,
fuck no,
like,
yeah.
and we were turning people away.
Yeah.
It didn't matter how much money you had; we just have room.
Yeah.
If I was selling tables for $10,000, $7,500, reselling tables over and over and over again.
Man.
What's meant for you will never miss you.
Like it just, yeah, dude. It's just that's a good one. I just was like, man, and I keep getting lower in this chair and shit. I'm like,
He's getting relaxed. He's like,
by the way, it's like
he's like, we got another hour here. Hold on.
it's the most vibe. But dude, it was dope. It was so cool
Yeah,
to
that's
kick that
awesome.
off.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was say, are you going to do more parties and events at Sunday's Best and things like that, or how do you operate that?
So
Do you
I have
people-
10,000. We have 10,000 square feet under construction downtown in the heart, dude. We're in the Post District, and the main floor has 220 seats. It's a Sunday's Best, and upstairs is a happy hour lounge during the week and a weekend day club, and it's called Sunday School.
That's
Yeah, and this isn't like this isn't like a moody like late night bar. Your cousin will be on the decks there for sure. Bo, he'll be doing his thing.
okay. Yeah.
Shout out, Bo.
Yeah, shout out
Bo.
Bo. He's got the vibes. In fact, he and I are doing a '90s like R&B party soon.
Yeah, I need the
gonna be-
details
that's
for
gonna be
that.
cool.
I've
Yeah.
been waiting for that.
That's gonna be really cool. But yeah, of course we're gonna keep throwing parties. Mostly like insulated, like client stuff. But like right now, I have my Halloween party on the 27th. I have 4 parties a year you don't want to miss, and these are in order. The first one is the Tiki party. The Tiki party's in June. You don't want to miss that, right? The next one is you don't want to miss the white party.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Like,
On
you
a-
don't
on a
wanna miss the
Sunday.
white-
That was.
You don't want to miss the
I
white
told you
party.
to come, and guess where you went? You went to the casino.
Yeah,
I never want to hear.
That's when we went to Windover.
Yeah.
I told you
man.
it was
Your fault.
fire. Oh my goodness!
Like,
You
it's-
just brought
yeah.
me. We saw you that same
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Well, he was trying to invite us. Honestly.
Yeah.
trying to tell you guys to come.
Our white party is
I
just
wasn't
like
even trying
to go.
it's wild, in such a dope way.
Yeah.
My Halloween party, like we're going off, like it's like be your favorite horror. So it's like this is like it's gonna be some freaky shit, like Freddy, Jason. Like I got
All my
characters,
favorites.
I got everything out. Like this, is like a haunted ass house. It's gonna be so good. And then my New Year's prom. What you've been to too, right? Did you come to prom? My New Year's prom's off the charts. And so
did,
those are like
yeah.
4 parties a year that you don't want to miss. The stuff that happens in between are pretty much insulated and private parties that, you know, if it's an athlete saying, hey, we want to vibe, then it's like, it's going to be, you know, strictly to their list or like people that we're going to curate to fill into it.
Yeah.
But we host a lot of parties for, you know, all of our, you know, whether you're, you know, CEO, celeb,
Regular.
you know, you just want to, you know, kick off a sweet 16 or, you know, a baby shower. I don't kick it on the baby showers very often. I most likely am probably not at your, you know, your sweet 16 or your reception.
Right.
But I most definitely like, especially when the season kicks up, when the NBA season kicks up, I feel like we almost have something going every week.
weekend, yeah.
Like every week there's something
I'm trying
going.
to host a party.
Yeah, you should do it. You should do it.
I'm trying to host a party for our birthday.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
man.
you should. I think you should do it for sure. That's the thing about like. There's no like. Honestly, I tell people like there's nothing greater for networking than to throw an event.
Yeah.
It's true.
There's nothing greater than relationships than to throw an
yeah.
event. And trust me, it's hard.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
the rooms weren't always full.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like we didn't used to get hundreds to a party. It just our first parties years ago started out with like 10, maybe 15, and then 20. Then sometimes we filled to 100, and then all of a sudden like, oh man, we haven't figured out, and our next party had 40. You know, and you kind of keep pushing with it. But I just love curating those pop-up events.
Yeah. Yeah. The recent one with Rare Roses and
Yeah, Show Love Club,
Show Love Club,
and
yeah.
some of the
We were
homies.
just at,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
That
cool.
was-
Did you come through?
Yeah, I was there.
Hell yeah, we had a little pop-up bar.
Yep.
Cash and his bro, they're cool. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to those guys at Good Life and to Rare Roses. They do all of our apparel. So they handle all of our uniform, all of our style guides. Taylor Morgan from Show Love Club, another total homie.
Yep.
He styles out a lot of my jewelry and the stuff that we're doing. But I like that because I feel connected more to creatives.
More
I spent so much time in my life not tuned into that. But on the more concept creation side, like I'm an artist as well. Like I'm an artist of experiences. Like I'm an artist and curator of space and experience. And so I like to be around creatives, especially like young, talented creatives, that being clothing or art or visuals or content, media.
Right.
I love it. And the music.
Oh yeah.
When a DJ hits a vibe, it's just different.
I love that because as you're saying that, it goes back to us doing the whole podcast. I'm like meeting people and like, in a way, it's a blessing that we have people that have been able to build our team, and like Bryan coming on and like then you coming on. Like, it's so crazy that Utah should be pretty soon. It's going to be on the map. Like, everyone's going to want to come to Utah, and it's because people like you, that are getting connected with other people here, and providing just all around experience, and like truly what you guys done has taken it to the next level.
Thank you.
And then that's without thinking a second of it, and like you guys are just you're that type of person that just, I love it. I'm going to do it.
Well, there's just, in Utah's at this like really beautiful like intersection of culture and sports, art, entertainment, food, beverage, fashion. And I respect and I honor being in the place, like being a pillar in that. Yeah, it's cool for some kid from Sandy.
Yeah, no, straight up. That's the fact that you, from selling cigarettes to selling brunch to doing whatever you guys do, it's such a different take on what we do here in Utah. And I'm glad to be a part of what you're doing right now and actually witnessing greatness,
Thank you.
And, when Bryan literally said, hey, man, you really have to get this guy on. He's running Utah right now. And I was like, that's so crazy because I don't know anyone in Utah.
Yeah.
And like I don't know anyone, and like I've never heard of you, like, and I have like Bo's my cousin, is a DJ, and he knows everyone.
Yeah.
And like I'm literally like an inch apart from being a part of this world, like if I'm just right next to Bo and he'll show me the ropes and all this stuff. Like I just started DJing, I started doing all this stuff, and he's like, hey man, just come follow me. And then he was like, yo, that Michael guy, he's hella cool, dude. Like you get to know him. I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Like that we really can just be like 1 to 2 degrees.
Yeah, away from each other.
But it's like then when it happens, bro, and you hit it and there's a synergy, it's just like, and it's just blended. It's just it's interweaved, man.
Yeah. So we have a segment here. It's called the Chef Special. You've given us a lot of the recipe
so
already.
Many. There's like so many.
I think we can call this episode the Chef Special by Michael McHenry. Headman.
Shit,
but
let's go.
It's for our viewers. Let them know some advice that you've taken in life, or advice that you've given to people, and it's like just worked out.
What's your chef special?
And the whole episode, like I said, this has been a whole Chef Special episode. I'm so influenced by everything that you've mentioned, like the whole vibes thing, the attitude checks, everything you've done, right?
Authenticity is real.
Listen, like yeah. What are those like? What are kind of those big maxims, right? Like, I think the big thing is like always listen to your intuition, like always. Listen, your gut don't lie. Like it's innate. It's ancient.
Yeah.
It's been like passed down. Listen to it. Like that's like your higher power. Like call it that was your, those are the who became, that's in your bloodline. Mm-hmm. Like pay attention, like listen, inside of your instinct and your intuition. I think the next side of it too is if you want to really get a beautiful and sustained and successful outcome in life, you got to leave people in places better than you found them. Like no matter what. And I'm telling you, when you start to hit a few wins, when you start to build momentum, that gets a little harder.
Yeah.
It gets a little harder to be that thoughtful. It gets a little harder to kind of prioritize that. I don't walk by trash. I don't grab the closest parking spot. Like I smile and say hi to everybody when they're on the trail, no matter what. Even if she's like, I don't want to talk to you, you're a stranger, you're going to attack me. I'm like, hey girl, I'm smiling. Like I take that moment to embrace the very humans that are by you because we're a miracle.
Oh yeah.
Like we just are. Like the chance of us sitting right here. And so like you just don't discount that. And my last bit, a little more business focused is, everyone talks about just getting started. I'm not a huge believer in that. I used to be because it was what you were supposed to say. Listen, I think the world's full of people that can start. I think the world needs more finishers. If you just actually get to the finish line, you're an outlier. So I'm like, listen, man, anybody can start. That's why I just live by the maxim, like 70% right, 110% sure. I know damn well I'm going to get there, no matter what. Right? And if one of my biggest maxims is to lead people in places better than I found them, and I always get to the finish line, we're all going to win. That's a big deal to me. And so, like, finish what you start.
Wow.
Beautiful. Amazing.
You guys hear that, world? Just
Right.
like, really, Fast and Furious. Like, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a quarter mile, a win's a win, right? Just make it cross the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they're ugly, right? But you just get there.
And I would like to just thank you for giving us your time. We know you're a
Yeah.
busy man, and just coming here and being on the podcast of just some guys,
Yeah.
That's all
Regular dudes.
Yeah.
You have any
Just regular
questions for
dudes.
us?
Yo,
honestly?
like one, as you can see, like when I sat down with you guys, nothing else showed up for me. Like that's something just, I think you're already doing it. You're curating a space for it, but to be able to just be in the moment is a big deal.
Absolutely.
Like it's a really big, especially for me, like my mind is all over the place. You guys got a little taste of how I can take one thought and turn it into 6 and finish it in 5. And there's some beauty to that. So, continuing to just curate this kind of environment where someone like me with this kind of processor and this busy brain and, owns a lot of business and lives a big life, but can show up here. I might have drifted on my way in. Might have been a few minutes behind. Might have jumped right in and pushed hard on it. But as you guys saw, like the moment I settled into this chair, I was like, yo, I like you guys.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
I appreciate my boy Bryan. Honestly, like my team qualified it more than I did. When Bryan said, hey, will you do it? I was like, hell yes. He shared it with my team. My team still,
Okay.
whether they said it or not, they still give that heads up.
Yeah.
And they gave the heads up. So here we are.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you to the team, though, for
Yeah.
approving. Like, I had spoken with your assistant.
Yeah, Samantha.
Yeah,
she's
Samantha.
dope.
Yeah, she got connected with me and asked me about the questions they're gonna be asking you, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we try to keep professional. We, as of lately, we've been trying to keep it a lot professional because
Yeah.
we have influence now, and
Yeah, totally.
I want to thank you for being part of
Yeah.
the influence.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, thank
Thank you. Yeah.
This was such a great episode for me because I'm the one talking, right, with the guests and everything, but. It was amazing to be on the other side listening and hearing
Yeah.
what you have to provide.
Yeah,
to
thanks for all
everyone.
the space.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
this
like,
is
that's like where we come in, right?
Yeah,
Like,
this is
we
just-
come in for it. What's dope too is like once it gets cut and it's produced, or produced, it'll sit on my link tree, and we'll push it.
Yeah.
So like people will jump into it, and we have honestly we have a pretty considerable following that just always wants this kind of info. And what's fun is I haven't ever sat in this setting before. And even though it was like authentically and on vibe, like just being able to be with you guys, like this is first for me, right? With you guys. I've done a lot of podcasts, but so I think they're going to get a little different taste of this, even though it's authentically me. Like I've said some things on here that I haven't said before,
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
right? So that's,
Yeah,
we want that.
No, absolutely.
Right?
It's
You want
amazing.
that.
I
Yeah,
love
of course.
it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, and one more question. Actually, I just thought of.
Yeah,
what,
of course.
What
What's
would
up?
it take for me to go sit and just shadow one of your chefs?
You just got to show up.
Just show up. All right.
You just like
we-
kick a note to Samantha and we'll line it up.
Oh,
Yeah, you already
perfect.
Yeah,
had
we'll line it up.
But it's because my friend owns a restaurant, Lakai Noodle House on
Yeah.
State Street
Okay,
downtown,
cool.
right?
Is it
And
good?
I love it.
Hell yeah, I
love
gotta
it.
go.
It's Vietnamese. It's like Vietnamese American though, because like they've catered to a lot of people outside of it, right? Because the fish sauce and stuff, people were like, whatever.
That's interesting. We learned that too at Ginger Street. Like we love fish sauce,
Oh,
right? But people don't love the smell,
Yeah.
right? Like the smell overwhelms. But I'm like, I don't actually want a papaya salad without it.
Exactly.
way.
Like,
you can't.
literally,
Yeah, no
like,
way, yeah.
yo, like for you guys, it's like cultural and
Yeah.
like for me, it's like, yo, I just know how it's supposed to be. And when I had it the way it's supposed to be, it's like that's how I feel about most things. I'm like, once you actually know how to do it, or you know how it should be done,
Yeah.
you can't fuck with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and I'm on my food journey as well. I want to open something eventually
Cool.
in the near future with some recipes.
Buying yourself
that I've
a
tried.
job, man. I like it.
And so, yeah, exactly. Like I said, I just like the shadow,
Yeah.
see how it works, see how
Done.
the mindset of a chef.
Say
you know?
less. Yeah,
And
got you.
Yeah, dude, let's get connected with that. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that kind of opportunity.
Cool.
But that is episode 29 Off the Menu podcast. Thank you to Bryan for lobbying us over here and being on the podcast as another guest. And thank you, Mr. Michael McHenry, McHenry.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And anybody who's listening in that wants to connect, just hit my Instagram. It's just Michael McHenry. And that's me. I respond to it.
Yeah,
it does.
Link will be in the bio for everything.
That's me. Yeah, the link will be
link
in my bio. And reach out to us. Like, we're thoughtful, we're engaging, and we'll never take our fans and experiences and relationships for granted.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank y'all. Peace out.
What a guy. Be excellent, be beautiful, be yourself.
Episode 29. You all see it. Mr. Michael McHenry. Hit up Bryan Chow for your photos.
course.
Let's get this man busy. Let's go to the restaurants. Maybe we'll give away
Let's get
some gift
Support
cards,
local
yo.
brands.
But thank y'all. Peace
Fucking
out.
active.